Hey everybody, welcome back to Ariella Amor. So today what we wanted to talk about is donating your breast milk. And what I wanted to first touch bases on is something that's really near and dear to our heart because in her first week of life, Ariella unfortunately was admitted to the NICU at Highland Hospital for her jaundice. I guess like a normal average level is 11. She was at 22. So it was twice as high for her. It was super serious. They gave her blood test after blood test, pricking her foot, which I hated. Until eventually they said, we have to go ahead and admit her. They did. I stayed with her over the course of about 2 nights in the NICU. It was heart-wrenching. My mind was just boggled. My head was all over the place. I was scared. They said it's something that's normal, it happens, but I just didn't want to hear that, honestly. I know, you were scared too, baby. Understandable. We got through it, of course, together. And something that I experienced while we were in the NICU was they asked me, okay, so she has to be under the lights for 3 hours at a time. And if she gets hungry, we're gonna have to feed her with a bottle. Do you want to pump milk? And I'm like, of course, obviously. But unfortunately, it was my first time pumping because I always just breastfed her when we were home for the 2 days that we got to be home before coming back to the hospital. So I tried for the first time to pump, and oh my gosh, what came out? Maybe an ounce or two. That was not enough to feed her every 3 hours. So I kept pumping. It started to get more over time, but I mean, we were only there for 2 nights. So they gave me another option. Do you want us to give her formula? Which, I mean, formula's not the worst thing, but it's just something I personally chose not to do with my child. Or do you want to use donated breast milk? And I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? Yes, women, who have excess breast milk, they donate for kids such as your daughter who are in the NICU, who are premature, who have any type of, need for that milk if their mothers aren't lactating for any reason. So there's mothers and children who actually need that milk. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a crazy decision. I don't want anybody else's breast milk being given to my child. That's like me just giving my baby off to another pregnant woman and she's just feeding my baby. And I was like, no. But they told me all the benefits of it. These women go through intense screenings. They make sure that they don't smoke, they don't drink, anything of that nature. They don't have anything, unfortunately, such as cancer, all type of things. They do blood work, they do DNA tests, like all type of, screenings that they have to go through before being able to donate. So I felt a little bit more comfortable. And upon one of those nights, honestly, I did have to have her go ahead and use some of that donated milk until I myself could generate as much as I could to go ahead from there on inside the NICU and feed her. So that's when this became something that was really vital. I wanted to look into it. Where does this donated breast milk come from? So what I did over the course of those couple of weeks after getting out of the NICU and taking care of my daughter for her jaundice, which she is now fully over, we went ahead and I Googled donating breast milk and 1,000 milk banks came up. So what a milk bank is the place that goes ahead and they intake that breast milk. So all you have to do really is Google it, reach out to someone that's in your region. You can reach out to someplace that's further. It's all convenient, honestly. So my process personally, here is their little paperwork. They're like brochure basically of donating that breast milk. I found the milk bank I wanted to go to. They're called Tiny Treasures is their official name, although on the brochure it says Prolacta Bioscience. So I guess that's like maybe a company that they're linked to, or maybe that's the overall company. But yes, they're called Tiny Treasures. So first step is find a milk bank. Second step is to go ahead and just contact them, reach out. This milk bank, personally, I could have called, but instead I chose to go ahead and just email. I mean, that's what we're doing these days with COVID time. So I emailed them and got a quick response, honestly. My next step, looking at my handy dandy little notebook here, is they go through a process basically of intake. Okay, so the first step of their intake process basically is paperwork. You have to fill out this application that pretty much asks all these questions about your past in the 12 months at least. when you had your child, basically, if your child was premature, if your child arrived on time, if your child was late, all of those questions they're going to ask you. They're going to ask some pretty personal questions as well, such as, when is the last time you had a drink, any type of alcohol? When is the last time, if ever, you have smoked or been around a smoker? When's the last time you've had sexual activity with multiple partners or just your partner? They're gonna ask you some pretty specific questions, so be prepared for that. It's natural, honestly. Second step, besides the paperwork and the application process, is a blood draw. Now, the blood draw was pretty interesting. We scheduled it and we had a person come out, basically, and she drew my blood, and she herself actually sent it in. So that was a pretty quick and convenient process. I personally liked it. She came to the home, so I like that, honestly. She wore a mask. It was safe for COVID. I felt comfortable, safe. We had great conversation about her kids with my daughter. It was cool. So yes, they're gonna make you do a blood draw because, I mean, they have to see what is in your blood work. They have to make sure that you're healthy, honestly, in order to donate to these children in need. Another thing that you're gonna have to do is they need your freezer temperature. The milk that you're storing and freezing has to be at a certain temperature. For me, it had to be 0 degrees Fahrenheit because it has to be frozen. I mean, like the movie Frozen. After that, they're gonna send out like a little cotton swab. Yeah, the cotton swab, remember? Oh, you're slobbing. Here. They're gonna send out a cotton swab, and that cotton swab, you can't tell. I gotta tell them, baby. That cotton swab is how they get your DNA testing. So you just swab the inside of the mouth for 10 seconds, and that's how they get your DNA. You go ahead and send that in. My company was so kind that they went ahead and sent out an envelope with that cotton swab with express shipping basically back. Everything was prepaid, so that was pretty cool. It got to them in like a day or two after I sent it in, so that was convenient. Yes, you didn't help. Don't tell them that you helped. I did the whole process. Okay, you helped too. You helped by being cute. After that, we had to get your doctor's sign off, her pediatrician sign off. We had to get my doctor's sign off, which was pretty cool because they sent the paperwork through DocuSign. So I just signed it, sent it in. They sent it away to my doctor and her doctor. They signed it, faxed it on over, and that process was done. I love that, honestly. Everything just easy these days. After that, the company is going to send you out the cooler. Within the cooler, you can store, they want about up to 400 or more ounces. So I did the calculations for personally what I've been storing, like 6-7 ounces per bag. And technically, you would have to send in like 66 bags. So what other mothers are doing is you can, even though it says on the bags, the storage bags, to store like what, 5-6 ounces maximum, they're putting in 10 ounces so they can put in like less bags into the cooler when it's sent out. And literally, I thought that was pretty cool for the cooler, pun intended. Anyways, moving on. So the company sends you out that cooler, which you ship back your milk inside of. They also, my company is awesome, honestly, because they send you out some of the storage bags. I've been paying about what, $14 for my storage bags, honestly, which is not a lot, but it adds up over time. Only what, about 100 bags come inside of there. So they send you out 50 bags at a time. What are you smacking for? I just fed you. 50 bags to 100 bags at a time. So if your company, they may actually supply your supplies that you need. So always check in about that, something to maybe inquire or look into. And then also for the cooler, they send you out like pre-labeled shipping. So they're gonna ship it back. My company is with FedEx, basically, is how they're shipping it back, or we're shipping it back once we donate our milk, which is pretty cool. On the flyer here that they sent out, it kind of tells you, I'm not sure if you can fully see that on there, but it tells you kind of the things and the steps of how-tos. So those how-tos told me the freezer temperature, like how to place the thermometer inside the freezer and get the right recording, basically. It told me for the DNA collection how to properly do the mouth swab, which is pretty quick, effortless, and easy. And then for the blood test, that's pretty much not done by you, but you just call in, schedule that person to come out. Some companies may have you go in, get your blood drawn, and they usually that person or the company sends it in to the company that you're providing your milk to. So the bonus to all of these things, looking back at my dandy notebook here, is that some companies even pay you for your breast milk. Personally, I will say that my company, they actually pay you for the breast milk. Now, each ounce that you donate is $1. So imagine donating, you know, a certain amount of ounces. That adds up. And then you can generate that money back to your baby, and they'll be very happy. What do you want? She wants, what, more toys? You have 1,000,000 toys. More clothes? She has 1,000,000 clothes. I'm not sure, but we're going to buy her some cool things. So yeah, some companies will pay you. And then think about all the benefits. I mean, like, look at these. Just pick up a brochure or just Google it. Like, look at these little babies. There's newborn babies who are premature. My sister had that experience where her baby was born about 2 months in advance and was premature. I've had some friends that had some premature babies. Like, it happens all the time. It's very common. Babies can come out premature, and their mothers, I mean, it's kind of early for them to start lactating sometimes, so they may not have adequate breast milk stored in, you know, their breast just yet. They may need a little assistance, as I myself needed in the NICU with a baby that was full term. So there's plenty of babies that are in need, that are possibly stuck in the NICU longer than mine was for those 2 days, and they're gonna need that breast milk. And that's the experience that I personally had, and it was wonderful to have that option. For mothers such as myself who didn't want to give my child formula, having that backup as, you know, somebody else's donated breast milk, it worked. Honestly, it did for us. Another thing is that there's moms in need as well. If they can't produce and lactate, then they're going to need milk throughout their pregnancy. Not every mother, as such as myself, wants to use formula. Formula is not a bad thing, but it's just something personally I didn't want to do for myself and for my child. I wanted her to be breastfed. That's just something that we've personally done in my family, my friends, just all around me. It's just like a, I don't know, it's kind of a bonding thing. And it, in my opinion, makes your child a little bit more healthier, fights off those, you know, diseases and viruses, etc. Just builds up their little immune system more. And referring to the paperwork that they gave me inside of the hospital when I was in the NICU with Ariella, it let me know that it's a little bit more advantageous for the child just because it has just more things inside of it naturally. So that's why I want to stick to something that's literally natural, such as breast milk. Another thing, last but not least, is moms that can donate breast milk, such as myself, or have children such as Ariella. Ariella, personally, does not like her bottle. She likes to drink straight from mommy's booby supply, I hear. So when she wants booby, it's time to breastfeed her. So I'm often breastfeeding her. Yes, I know. You just love booby. You don't want bottle. Yeah, understandable. Okay. True. So she doesn't really like the bottle. Eventually she's gonna need the bottle when I go back to work. Right now I'm still on my maternity leave, so I don't quite need to give her a bottle all the time, but she's gonna have to get used to it eventually. Is what the doctor called me a, I was like a super producer, basically. I produce a lot of milk for some reason. My boobs are not big. They have never been big. That was a big concern of mine. I was like, I don't have big boobs. I'm not going to generate a lot of milk. And they're like, your boob size has nothing to do with it. And surprise, surprise, I'm a super generator. So I generate a lot of milk. I have to get up and pump that excess milk like maybe twice a day just to get through the day, because my boobs get super big and engorged, which is not the worst thing. But imagine when your boobs are so big that you're just in pain because the milk keeps on generating, as if your boobs are gonna literally just burst open. It hurts. So I generate a lot of milk. I feed her throughout the day. I still have a lot of milk generating throughout the day, which is why I pump, and I have a freezer full. Check this out. Yes, I have a freezer full of milk. So that's what I'm going ahead and I'm linking up with this milk bank, and I am donating. All right, we're almost done with this video, Ariella. Can you tell them? Tell the audience for me. No? You don't want to tell them? Well, pretty much all we want to say today is that it's a great thing. It's a great experience. If you have extra breast milk that's been expressed, you get it donated for up to, well, they say up to 10 months, but on the safe side, I've heard 3 months, 6 months, etc. Donate that breast milk check out milk banks in your area and go ahead and look into donating your milk if you have the excess milk. I mean, some others need that milk that they store for when they want to go to work or on a vacation or this and that. If you want to, you know, kind of live your life, you want to drink for a day, you need that milk. You know, you cannot feed your child for a day or two, you know, after drinking. So it all depends. So yes, we're done. We're done. Donate your breast milk, and mothers and babies in need will definitely appreciate it. This has been Ariella Amor. You want to tell them bye? You tell them bye then. I won't end it. You end it. All right. This has been Ariella Amor. Thank you, Ariella. And she says bye. See you next time.